Okay, if I talk it in terms of, career prospects, I'm still a person. If I want to go for a full-time opportunity, I won't have to make the efforts of going to companies and being like, okay, hey, here's my resume. Please have a look and give me an opportunity. I have opportunities coming to me and being like, okay, hey, yeah, like, are you open for opportunities and like being a full-time strategist for us? We saw that there have been times when they don't even ask me for my portfolio or my resume either. They don't care about it because they know if I can do it for myself. Like if I can bring results for myself in a certain period of time, I can definitely do it for them as well. Like people will bet on you if you have it in you to bet on yourself as well.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today I have with me a lovely friend that I met in Mumbai, and she was there at the Tag Mango cohort to tell us a little more about how we could build our personal brand or how we could build our brand image on Twitter. And that's when I realized that she just started her career one year ago, and today she has close to 20,000 followers on Twitter itself, and she is somebody that most people do know in the Twitter space and in the personal branding space. But without further ado, Saloni, welcome to my show.
Hi, thank you for inviting me to the podcast. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you, Saloni. And Saloni, first of all, tell me, what were you doing a year back? Like if a year back is when you started working, what were you doing a year back?
I graduated with a degree in media and entertainment that back then, and I was still in a dilemma if I wanted to pursue my master's, etc. So I was basically like, okay, I have so much time in my hands. Why not I try my hands on everything, like be it storytelling, be it podcasting, because that was a reach back then, and it's still now. And I was like, okay, if marketing is all about creativity, why how about I just post all my crazy thoughts out there on the internet and start also blogging as well. So
I think that's a very nice thing to do, especially when you're about to start your career and you're trying to figure out what is the right niche. I've been following you on Twitter, so I've been seeing some of your threads, I've been seeing some of your comments, which are really nice and I feel genuine. And I, for one, am an absolute amateur. I remember speaking to you and saying, now I'm going to try using.
yes.
So tell me, how did you start on Twitter?
Oh, okay. I think I made this account back in maybe 2016 or something, and I just knew that it was a news portal, something like that. And I was passively using that platform. I would never interact with anything. I didn't even have the app, to be very honest. And one day I just discovered that all the screenshots the meme screenshots that you see on Instagram, it's basically nothing, but there are a few creators who just, consistently just post whatever they think about it, and it eventually ends up being on all the social media platforms ever. And that's when I realized, okay, how about I do the same thing? Like, because at the end of the day, it's also a mini blogging platform where you have to express yourself in less than 280 words, which I think honestly is a very big task.
It is.
Because
It is.
because if you give someone 10 minutes, they can go on and on to talk about what they do, what they like, their life story. But if you ask them to sum it up in like 30 seconds, it's a very big challenge.
Correct. And I think it's the ability to crunch it down and pack a punch in that line is what makes it like, I think that's where you need the art and craft of communication. Like you must have some sort of gift.
If you can tweet well, you are a good copywriter, is what I've heard from a lot of people.
That's nice. That's nice. Yeah. So Saloni, tell me what would be the first step or the second step in terms of to get going? Like, let's say I've just downloaded the app. What should I be doing right now?
Figure out why are you on the app, because until and unless you have a motto, okay, this is the reason why I want to use the app. You cannot, okay, if you go with a motto that okay, you have to have like a following or something, or you will end up becoming a meme, or because okay, people have this weird fantasies. Okay, I'll become a meme someday because it's a very cool thing now, or I'll get into the news just because I posted something that I found it funny in my head. So that's not how it works. You really have to be like, okay, this is the reason why I'm using a certain platform, be it Instagram, be it YouTube, also like mindfully using it. As a person who works in the field of media, I knew that to have an entry point in the industry directly without, taking 5 or 6 years to climb the ladder and making people understand that, okay, there's a girl named Saloni who also exists. I thought social media is the easiest way to do it because and also in college, I was a part of a lot of committees. And I saw that, okay, there were celebrities who used to come and there were web series people. And then I realized, okay, they're literally my age. They were 2021 that time. And the only reason why we used to appreciate those people so much is because of the exposure they have on the internet. I know like it's a very debatable topic when people say that experience matters more than your experience in the industry matters more than your knowledge that you have. But when you are active on social media, you get so much exposure, you get so much direct access to the top people in the industry, to all the networking groups ever, that the exposure will help you absorb the information because you are so around people who are in the industry, who are playing the game since years together, and they're also mentoring you in a way or two. It becomes a lot easier as well. So it's a privilege that you have to build for yourself by creating a digital footprint, by be it any platform for that matter.
I think you've given us a lot of takeaways already in just the few sentences you said, because I feel there are layers to it, right? First,
Yeah.
The fun part, like why you started it, because I think it's the series House where he says you never work hard if you make your work fun, because every single day you're doing only that something fun. And if
Yes.
starts off on a fun note, it becomes like something that's your stress.
It's fun and games for me, but if I say something like the same thing to a founder, or even you for that matter, if I say that, okay, Lalith, from tomorrow you have to, I draw a plan for you and you have to be on that platform for even 15 minutes daily. It will sound like a huge task for you, and you will keep running away from it because until and unless you know how it works, or you're enjoying it or not, it is not everyone's cup of tea as well. So, yeah.
I agree. And the second part of this sentence that you said was, you also realize that this could be a pedestal or a tool to go meet people who are a way big deal compared to who you are, right?
Yeah.
And it breaks off all those, what do you say, barriers that are standing in front of you. And this is why you should use Twitter, LinkedIn, certain places,
Instagram also.
Instagram, to build credibility socially and to also have that network, so that tomorrow you can exponentially get to a bigger place in your career.
Yeah, I think you being on social media is the easiest stepping stone to getting wherever you want to be. Because once people discover you, like it can be overnight for a lot of people as well. It also can be a compounding effect where being a content creator, it's just like you're compounding your knowledge, if not anything else. If the audience does not compound, you're still not losing anything because you're learning new things every day.
True. And I think that credibility in real good terms is nothing but building a good personal brand. Like, you are trying to build this image, this picture of who you are, what you're capable of, what value you can really provide. And based on the evidence of that value and success of that value is where you will actually really stand.
Completely.
Correct.
Yes.
So you tell me, what has been the biggest learning about this personal branding? What is that one?
I'll tell you. So okay, if I talk it in terms of career prospects, see, if I'm still a person, if I want to go for a full-time opportunity, I won't have to make the efforts of going to companies and being like, okay, hey, here's my resume. Please have a look and give me an opportunity. I have opportunities coming to me and being like, okay, hey, yeah, are you open for opportunities and like being a full-time strategist for us? We saw that you do it really well. So there have been times when they don't even ask me for my portfolio or my resume either. They don't care about it because they know if I can do it for myself, like if I can bring results for myself in a certain period of time, I can definitely do it for them as well. Like people will bet on you if you have it in you to bet on yourself as well.
Correct.
Very simply, like it increases your confidence. First and foremost. Secondly, I would say that when you market something, you reach out to people. But when you have a brand of yourself and you're launching something, people will do the branding. You don't have to do anything. Your brand will speak for yourself. The day you launch, there will be views on your YouTube channel. There will be people buying whatever you are trying to sell. And yeah, that's how things work. I know a lot of creative agencies who I have heard it from a lot of my friends that they only hire people who are active on their personal social media platforms as well. Because firstly, if they're creating content for themselves, they definitely know what is working in the market, what is trending, and they'll be able to, just reciprocate the same results for their clients as well.
Okay.
Because they're literally running the industry, they're creating the trends, the trend setters already. So it won't take much of, the brainstorming part. They can just, bet on, they can keep experimenting. And it's very simply like if you don't use your brain, it will rust. But if you're using it every day, you will end up thinking about 10 creative things and you don't have to, even have a brainstorming session. You have a list of ideas, you just have to pick one from the bucket and you're good to go. So that's the reason, like if companies have the funds to hire the best of talent, they will definitely hire someone who is already in the game again. Like even if you like, I often say to people that I learned most of my most about copywriting, most about marketing through Zomato. And if you know, Akshay, there's a guy called Akshay Pathak who used to initially run the Zomato social media handles.
Okay.
And if you see, he has such a huge following of his own on every social media platform as well, that it is bound that he will do something great for the companies as well.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And I feel, Saloni, one of the things about a personal brand, where you mentioned again in your previous statement, was people will automatically share it even without you asking them to promote it, because a lot of personal brand is directly story. It is not something wrapped up in a story, but it is directly just story. What do you feel about the power of storytelling? Because I know for a fact that you also write a lot of content, you involve yourself in a lot of other marketing, branding activities. How do you look at story as an expert? Or
Stories connect people. Stories is something that, it won't just play with your mind, with people's mind, but also with people's hearts. So you can, like, it's very induced to, be it in marketing or be it in general. It's very, when it's story telling, people are easily empathizing with you. People know, okay, if it's a brand, that's the reason why they started the brand. People will start believing in your vision as well. And when they connect with you, they're bound to buy you. If not buy you, they'll remember you. The brand recall becomes very strong if you're using like the storytelling as an advertising form, other than just, using very superficial ways of creating some scripts and everything. So storytelling works magical. Like if you know it for a fact that whenever you watch something on TEDx or even Josh talks for that matter, we don't connect with the motivation that the person, like the takeaways. The takeaways always has to be the person's story or the struggling thing that they went through and then the glory that they end up getting. So again, we connect with the story more than just what they are now, right now.
So, Saloni, my favorite example about stories, and especially with business brands, is Nike, because never have I ever seen their shoe being advertised in their, this thing. But they talk about all these athletes who they've signed up and they have crazy stories. Somebody's broken their foot. They work hard for 11 months and come back the next year to win a championship, right? And I think that's the essence of storytelling. You got to give them the lows, and people usually think story should be only of highs and only highs. But I feel it's a mixture of lows and then some highs. What do you think? What do you think about this whole game?
Definitely, like storytelling is something like you have to. It's again about it's the story of hope. It's a story of something like the aspirations that okay, if they can do it, I can do. And Nike is such a strong brand that even like I think most college kids or most I don't know like I spot everyone wearing a Nike shoe, and I know also for a fact that if someone is broke as fuck, but they'll still be like, okay, I can save up for that shoe because it will look it like if not anything, if they don't know if it has real utility or not, they'll end up buying it for just the logo.
Hmm.
Very simply. And
I
I
think
just remember this quote which says that marketing helps you reach your customers, but branding will make your customers reach to you, which
wow,
is very,
wow.
very powerful.
Yeah. And I think you can separate the best from the rest easily because these are the brands that are like just they're sitting back. They know they've created that
They
entire
are timeless brands again.
they're timeless brands and you always want to be associated with them, isn't it? And speaking of story, and I really like how we use this example, but I want to dwell into a little more about Saloni, you've worked with a few brands, you've done a lot of work behind and at front. I want to know how are you building your brand? What is the story behind you? Was your story of all the highs and highs, or there were lows and highs in your story? What is your story like?
Um, I would honestly tell that definitely a lot of lows. Like growing up, being in college, I was a complete introvert. I was in my shell. And I was definitely looking for a lot of validation, to be honest. And when I saw that coming from people on the internet, it was very like it was a very good feeling. And that's the only reason why I kept going. I never thought I would make money out of it. But just because when people shower you with love, appreciation, with validation as well, everyone enjoys it. Be it a celebrity who's already been in the industry, be it Taimur Ali Khan who got all of those things just right when he was born as well. But when people start noticing you, you somewhere feel that okay, you might not have made it, but there is place for you in the whatever you do next. So that's the only thing. And yeah, I was a very anxious person back then. I also had my part of being a depressed teenager and going through a lot of yeah basically. So all those things also led to like okay, if this is something that can also bring me a little bit of being from going from a nobody to a somebody, why not? Why should not someone chase for it as well? Like everyone wants it deep down. If
True.
I look at like I tell you very honestly, like, okay, can I go ahead in this?
Please go for it.
Yes. So when I was back in college, I used to look at all these influencers, all these YouTubers, and somewhere or the other, while I was mindlessly consuming their content, I was envying them. कि okay, they तो उनको तो like overnight fame मिला है, but yeah, I used to do that. I'll be like, okay, they're just getting brand deals, they're minting money, everything happens, and that is like a very fake world and everything. But when I realized okay, I even I get vulnerable on the internet, I share my story to people and I be like, okay, this is how things work, and okay, these I manifested this, I got this and everything. I started knowing that okay, if I do the same thing, I will get the validation that I want. I will, I can also make a career. If I can make a career out of it, anyone can as well.
So I think that is the dream, right? The ability to truly understand yourself and now help somebody else probably grow their brand. Build your brand first to grow somebody else's brand. And I think that's a very nice way of even building confidence. Only if you could build confidence about yourself, other people will build confidence about your ability to. What actually, now I have a question, right? When you say a personality or a persona you want to put out on the internet, is it important to have that, or is it just to be on, just be you on the internet just the way you are? trying to say add on something to
No. Be exactly the person that you are. Be the 100% authentic version of yourself. Because, see, if you see someone's content like someone like Raj Shamani, if you go and check out his Instagram reels, it is very serious content. But if you go and check out his stories, he also shows his fun side where he's hanging out with friends or being like okay, cracking jokes and everything. And if you go and check his vlogs, you'll relate to him a lot many more times because otherwise you'll be like, okay, this person just grinds 26 hours a day, and why is he expecting us to do the same?
Correct.
But that sounds like very generic advice. But when he also tells his story that okay, he was from Indore, he was building his industry, he was building his father's business and everything. Then he also dived into it. He gave his shot. He was not very confident when he started, but he did it over the times. And when whatever he's trying to, all the life hacks that he's trying to, tell it to us, it is tried and tested and not just something generic out there to just motivate the Gen Z. That's when people relate to you more. Like when people know your story, they'll be more empathetic towards you. They will understand you more, and it will be a very
Got it. It's more like a lasagna, right? It has multiple layers to it,
multiple marinations to it.
People actually really buy into it. And I really like the example that you gave, which is Raj Shamani, because I've been following 20, 30K kind of followers, and now he's on another dimension itself. Can you also tell me people who built really good, strong personal brands, like anybody or digital presence level, like who's really good?
I think one person that comes, one is Abhi and New. I started following them back in 2018-19 when they had just begun. And the power-packed videos that they had, it was something that I wouldn't really mind going on YouTube and googling about googling about that. But then I realized, okay, their videos are so damn power-packed that it became a brand. Like now they're creating such huge amounts of content. The same goes for Nas Daily. And if I talk it in terms of freelancing, there's this person called as Vedika Bhiya. If you can check out her Twitter, you can check out her LinkedIn, her Instagram as well. I think she's a very underrated creator, Abhita. But she's the person who's really inspired me to start my journey as a content creator as well. Yeah. And there are also a lot of my friends who started a little earlier than me. There's one called as Mahima Jalan. She calls herself a personal brand builder. She helps a lot of founders, actually like build personal brands on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram. So again, like when she calls herself a personal brand builder, I'm like, okay, this is something, there's a lot to learn from her as well. You can definitely check out her social media as well. And I think I can keep going. Like there's Shreya Patal who has a massive following on LinkedIn, and yeah, then there are founders whose journey we already know about and who just started the content creation journey because again they know that it's a big leverage that it plays in their business as well. So yeah, all the names that I named right now are like young content creators who just began their careers along with starting content creation journey and then ended up getting clients through social media. So really a lot to learn from their journey.
Man, I think just by giving these names, a lot of people watching this right now could simply go onto their profiles, follow them, because they will keep putting a lot of value add on content.
Definitely.
And they can just start. I mean, for especially newbies who are just about to start, they don't have a point to start. You should just follow people, get on track, just fake it till you make it, copy them.
Copy people, because that's how you learn. Like if a child learns by seeing other people walk.
Correct.
If you are in school, you are learning maths by seeing what the teacher is writing on the blackboard. You literally is copying him, right? That's how you learn. Like even on the internet, like people see a trend, they like it and they follow it, and that's how a trend becomes viral again.
True.
It's just people have their own takes on it. People show the various personalities that they have, and that's what makes them stand out. Correct. So, yeah.
Man, that's brilliant. Now, another question that's been lingering in my head is, let's say I am super interested in content creation and I'm about to start, but there is one I personally feel, because I've just started 6 months ago. So one thing that I know is you have to beat your mind. You have to push it to beat the fact that you should not judge your content based on the metrics, the numbers. How do you actually get through that space? Because I think you've done it a little earlier than my zone right now. So I want to know from you, how do you actually get through the numbers phase?
I would tell the real motivation definitely is the numbers, agree it or not. You get the motivation because, yeah, like if I know it for a fact that if I start my own podcast someday, if I'm not getting views, I won't have the motivation to I'll post maybe like episodes. I'll post like 5, 10. But after a point, if I'm not getting views, I would eventually stop doing it because I'm like, okay, I'm creating content, but if it's not getting views only, why would I keep doing that? But the problem there again is you have to keep experiment. ऐसा नहीं कि मतलब you can be like मैंने जो भी देखा इंटरनेट पे मैंने सब कुछ कर लिया मुझे like I went to a mentor. They told me create such type of content, it will work because it's something that's very trending, but it's not always the case. So you have to like experiment. You have to push your you have to cross promote your content as well. You like if someone is even on Twitter for that matter. Honestly speaking, what my motivation was that back then was a lot of people, including me, had started creating content there. It was not just me who was pushing my content, but a lot of creators who were my age are creating similar content as I was doing. So when I saw their numbers growing, I was like, if they started with me, so if they are able to, post content daily, what is stopping me? So that was the real motivation. Like there are still days when I get good engagement. There are days when I don't get anything. But yeah, so you need to really have a vision after that. Like, okay, you're getting something out of it. At least that's helping a few people. Good to go.
Nice.
Definitely, you need to have for me now. At this point, my end goal is I got to meet to a lot of people. I got featured in a few medias as well, and that's a motivation. Like till the time I'm not talking about things, how will people know that I'm interested in that? Very simple. For example, I got if you ask anyone on Twitter who follows me, they'll be like, "Why do you know Saloni for?" They'll be like, "She gives me main character vibes," and if someone goes to my profile, I don't want them to feel sad about themselves. I want them to really, be like, okay, this is me and I'm living my best life. Like this is the only romanticize everything in your life is something that I often keep having a conversation about with people. So I think I was just posting a lot about what are your favorite things to do on a soul read, or have you ever taken a philosopher on a soul? I used to tweet a lot about those stuff. And one day a journalist reached out to me. She was like, "Okay, I'm planning to write something on this, and would you like to have a conversation with me on that?" So I realized that that would have never happened if I never spoke about it. And why did the journalist approach me? First and foremost, because she knew not many people know the idea of solo dates. Not many people are speaking about it, to be very honest. Like even if people go out, like take themselves out and just have a solitude time with themselves, many people don't know that there's a term for it as well. And secondly, because she also knew that I have a distribution channel as well. That if okay, it is very honest. Like believe it or not, it is something because see, if I have a distribution channel, people will recognize me and people will be able to relate to me more than they were to a XYZ person.
Makes sense.
So that's something again that till the time you make yourself stand out of the crowd, you're good to go. And you will be rewarded someday or the other. So it's again a lot of okay. Which brings me to my next point, which is networking. It is never like आज मैं networking करूँगी. It will never happen. It's not like you go to LinkedIn, you send a request to random people, they accept it, and you're like, okay, I have a network of 500 people on LinkedIn. It is not how it works. You really it is networking for me is something as simple as having conversations with people and having a mutual benefit. Even if it's a conversation, it should be a very fruitful conversation. Just say you get to learn something from them, they get to learn something from you. Very simply.
Makes sense.
And you can do it with something as simple as just talking to 3 or 4 new people every day who are doing better than you. You're like, if I see I belong to the media industry, I now have friends who work like they work in fintech. I have friends who are engineers. I have friends who are podcasters. I have friends who work as CAs. Though I know, like I have friends who are from every age group as well. So I know, okay, this is something like it's matlab, people के mindset ऐसे work करते. This is how these are the products they might buy. This is the type of content they consume, and everything else as well. So you really need to acquaint yourself to the world, and you really need to, like have nice conversations with people, like connect to people you would like to work with someday.
Mm-hmm. And I feel it does make sense when you say you have to have conversations, even if it is 20,000 people or 5 million people. The ability to talk on a one-to-one basis through your medium or channel is what makes you that connectable, and that's also it gives you that power of influence amongst those people as well. Man, Saloni, thank you so much for bringing in so much insight. I feel like we've just finished 45 minutes in a feel like it. And thank you so much one more time. And I'm for sure, that people who have watched this episode have a lot of takeaways, especially on this lines of building a personal brand, how you should be aligning yourself on various platforms, be it Twitter. And man, it's a lot of knowledge, and I hope people are going to make the best of it. So for everybody watching, please do make sure you check out Saloni's handle. It's called Why Saloni on Twitter. Down in the description below. And I think there's a lot to learn from you. And I think the world is yet to see the best of you, Saloni. Thank you so much for coming on the Lalith Dhanush Show. And I can only tell you that the episode that we've created is going to serve a lot of great value. So thank you once again for coming on our show and saying yes to us.
Thank you, Lalith. It was a blast. Like, I had a great time on your podcast, and I hope to invite you on my podcast if I start it anytime soon.
Let's do it. I'm game. I'll be so happy to be there, and let's kill it.